All right, so our recording is going, and welcome everybody to the Global Ed Tech Academy and to our session on Class Notebook, the perfect tool for your classroom, real or virtual. And I'm Julene. I'm here in Memphis, as are some of my Shelby County school buddies here in Memphis who are all going Microsoft this year. So I'm sure that's why you're worried. That's why they're excited to be here. But I'm super excited to have our visitors from Lebanon and Croatia and all over the place here with us, all over the world. It makes it really fun when it's global, because I do a lot of global work. I've worked in lots of different countries: Australia, New Zealand, Jordan, Bahrain, France, all over the place, and a lot in Canada, by the way. So super excited to have everybody here. I have been in education over 20 years. Do I want to tell you how many? And I was started in elementary school, which is young children. For those of you who are in other countries, it would be starting at like age 3 years old. Oops, let me see. We have a mic open. Close your mic, please. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, so age 3 up through 4th grade, sometimes up to 5th grade. And then I was there 10 years, a second grade teacher, which would be year 7. And for those in other countries, and also technology coordinator and science coordinator. 6 years in the classroom, 3 as a tech coordinator, and 1 as science. Then I helped build a middle school, high school here on a large piece of land 20 years ago. And when we started that school, we went 1-to-1 with 1 laptop for every child. Every student there. So that would be, for those of you in other countries, that would be probably ages 12 to 18 in that realm. And now I'm an adjunct professor at Lamar University in the Digital Learning and Leading program in Texas. So I'm sure our Texan has heard of that. And super excited you're here to learn about Class Notebook and how to use it with teams and classroom, because they kind of go hand in hand. And as we get going, to get started, I'm going to share my desktop because I want to show you how you can be watching me and working at the same time. So I'm going to share my whole desktop, which is what I'll be doing a lot of the time today. So let me get this going. I'm going to share my whole desktop. Here it comes. Wait for it. There it is. Alrighty, so let me just pull this down for a second out of the way. So here is what you're looking at now, probably. This is the Teams window, except you should be seeing my PowerPoint, which I just hid from you. You're not seeing my PowerPoint because I hid it from you. So you're seeing the Teams interface, the Teams meeting interface. So this is the meeting. And I wanted to show you a couple tricks that you can use with your students, but also will be helpful for you today. So as you're looking at this and you're hovering, you have the participants up here. I can see everybody who's in the workshop. I can see we have 30 of us. That's super awesome. And then we have the chat. So it's right there. So today in the chat, if you get stuck, I'll be watching the chat a little bit over here. If I get really busy, open your mic and ask a question. That's fine. This is just come in, raising your hand. That's, you can raise your hand if you want to. Microsoft is adding so many things to Teams right now. I keep finding new surprises. Here's how you turn your camera off. Here's how you mute your mic, all those things. This is how you share. And actually, this has been on the bottom. I don't know why it's at the top today. I'm like, that's interesting. And so you can mute those, you share your screen, share a window, share a tab here, but I can't do that right now because if I do that, you'll lose me. Then you have 3 dots, whether they're on the bottom or at the top, doesn't matter. It's interesting that mine is on the top. And so I click those and I have more actions. So your device settings would be what mic are you using? What speakers are you using? What video source are you using? That's your settings. And then back up here again, I have meeting details. You have the gallery view, which is the one where we're seeing everybody. There's a new one called the together mode, which we're probably not really going to get much out of because you're not here except for me. You all muted your video, but if you were here, you all be sitting in seats and would back away. So it's like we're in a conference right now. It's one of their new ones they just added. So I'm going to go back to gallery. And I wanted to show you a couple other things too. So One of the things you can do to really help, you have your background effects. I'm sure you've seen those before, where you can turn those on. If you haven't, you have lots of options. I'm right now in blur, but you can put on whatever you'd like. You have lots of different things, and I think more are coming. So that's an option. You turn on your recording. I can turn on live captions right here, which is really good for those of you when you're doing distance learning, because now this is a good thing for your tools. I don't know why it said bedtime. It's not bedtime yet. For some of you it is, but it's a good tool for you because when you're presenting to your students asynchronously, they can see the captions. Even synchronously, for those who are visual, they can watch the visual captions too. So I'm going to turn that off for right now. I'm just going to turn closed captioning off because I don't think we need it right now. And some other things are down here. But what I also wanted to show you was when you're here, and if I come over here, let me see if I can get my grid view again. I don't know why it's not getting me my gallery. Because what I wanted to show you, and it's being really silly right now, so let me see what I can do here to get it to, yeah, it's all different. So if I were able to see you all right now, I don't know why you're down the bottom, but if I click on one of you, I get information. But what I should be able to do is where you're seeing me, not me, but the screen, the team screen, and this is a whole new interface that I'll change. Let me see if it'll let me do it here. You should be able to hover over me and pin me. And so it's usually by like here, okay, here's Leslie's. If I go here, I see Leslie, and I should be able to click on Leslie and pin her. And that means Leslie's gonna stay big. I have no idea why mine is looking like this because this is all brand new. It hasn't done that before. But that's, you know, if anytime they're presenting and you see the screen that I'm sharing, like if I were sharing this right now, this is what you'd want to pin on your screen down here in your team. You'd want to hover over that one and pin it. Yeah, I know, Laurel, the new update is like, well, where did that all come from? I took a weekend and look what happened. Just in one weekend. It's like, and this is so funny because I do training on lots of different tools for lots of different organizations. And it's like, you'll go in there and you go, huh, that wasn't there yesterday. It's the funniest thing. Because they're pushing everything out so fast to get ready for school or get ready for remote learning, whatever you're going to be doing. All right, so back up here, though, what I wanted to show you too is if you grab this team window and slide it over, just grab that window, it only takes half your page instead of the whole page. Then you can also be opening a browser tab, a browser window. So I'm going to move this and I'm going to go to my Microsoft Chromium, which I love Microsoft Chromium. I wasn't a big fan of the Chromium Edge. This is the original Edge. I didn't really like that much. This is the Chromium Edge. And this is just a browser window. If I click here, it's just a browser. I can grab that edge there and resize it. Now, some of you have devices where you can do them side by side without dragging. But if you put your screens next to each other, you can watch what I'm doing and also be over here in, I'm going to go to office.com and I can be in my office apps and be in my team and working. So I want you to be able to do that. Get the team window where I'm presenting, and I'm going to change to my slideshow now. I'm going to change that so you see this again for a little bit. And we're going to be live a lot of this time, but I want to put this PowerPoint back up here for just a second. So, and that way you can see what I'm presenting, and this is the PowerPoint is where it would be good to pin it if you're able to pin it, and then have your browser on the other side to work. So that is, if your tool, maybe Samantha, she wants to know because her toolbars at the bottom of it hasn't updated yet. You know, when they roll out these updates, the whole world doesn't get them at once. Not even the whole city will get them at once. Every tenant gets them at different times, and we'll talk about what a tenant is. So every district or school or organization gets them at different times. So there's all kinds of rollouts going by, and I was like, wow. So in Class Notebook, I'm going to talk about the big picture for a little bit. We're going to talk about what is Class Notebook. We're going to look at teams because they really work together. And when you're doing Class Notebook, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We'll look at the assignments. We're going to create a class notebook and navigate it. We'll look at how to distribute pages and sections to it, and then I'll show you resources. So the big picture, let me tell you about the big picture with Microsoft. So I was mentioning the word tenant. So if your district or your organization or whatever group you have that oversees all your schools, wherever you are, they have an agreement with Microsoft. And then what they do, they develop a tenant. It's called a tenant. So in Google world, some of you might be coming from Google because I know some of you are. They'll be like their domain, the Google domain. And so in the tenant, that's where everything Microsoft for that organization lives, right there. Within there is what they call SharePoint. It's like that district or school organization's drive in the cloud. You know, their cloud-based drive, big storage facility and functionality of all the programs that runs it for you. Each one of you has a OneDrive. That's your own personal drive space, your own personal place up in the drive that is developed with your or associated with your account, your login. That's your space. That's just as private as you want it to be, unless for some reason the district needs to access it. But nothing in there is shared unless you share it. And so that's your one space. And within OneDrive, all of these apps are living. So Office 365 is really where all your apps live, like Outlook and OneDrive and Word and Excel, and they all are stored there. That's where you'll find everything. So that's kind of the big picture of how it works together. Now within that is Teams. And Teams came out 2 or 3 years ago, and it took a little bit for me to figure it out sometimes, but it is awesome because it pulls everything into one ecosystem, one big organizational unit. And within there, you can access a lot of different things. And so we're going to talk about Teams. We're going to look at Teams, how they're made, and talk about the workflow of Teams and Class Notebook. So that's kind of the big picture of this and how it kind of works together with the Microsoft world. And so moving on, let me get this going again, just thinking about Teams and Class Notebook being interrelated. And that's really your workflow, and you're going to streamline everything by being above. Some of you may have had Class Notebook by itself before, but what you really always want to do is make a team and then create the Class Notebook within it. If you don't use the team, that's okay, but it's a one-way street. If you make a team, you make a Class Notebook in it, and they're always connected. If I go out and make a Class Notebook, I can't get it into a team. It's a one-way street, and I'd be going the wrong way. So I really want to make sure I start with the team and then create the OneNote notebook or the Class Notebook, which is a OneNote notebook on steroids. The other thing for you and your students, you'll want to start in the cloud. You always want to have your students log in through their browser, through their web browser in the cloud versions. And that's really best practices for you. When have you noticed that the updates taken place while I was talking, I read a little bit of this, that the update has been pushed to the desktop app of Teams, but not to the cloud version. And so there's a Teams cloud version and there's a desktop version. And how do I know which one I'm in? You just look at it, and like for this one, well, I don't have let me just get my full desktop again for you. Let me share the desktop because I got ready to show you something you can see. So hold on. And I'm going to share my whole desktop again. I probably should just stay there because I tend to toggle back and forth. So for this team right here, let me go here. Let me go here. Okay, this is, and the reason I know this, let me put this down here. This is the desktop version because there are no browser tabs. That's the desktop version. If I go over here to my Office 365, where all my different apps and tools are, I can go to Teams here, and this will be the browser-based version. And the reason I know that is here is a browser tab. So I can get to the exact same team. These are a bunch of teams. A lot of them are just training, just for fun. So this is Global Ed Tech Academy. That's one today. You didn't know we got actual money, did you? So here are my teams. So this is, and the one I'm in now, I'm trying to remember which one I was in down there. I'm not sure, but these are my teams. I have multiple teams and I can access them all here. Yes, Helene, you can share a notebook in one team and another team. So you actually are going to create it, and then you can what you could do is copy it or duplicate that, use the same template from that one notebook. And then the way you're not really supposed necessarily sharing it, but when you push assignments out and announcements, you can push them to multiple notebooks at one time. So I'll show you that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think we have one mic that is muted here. Let me get that muted. Let me get the mic muted, and then we'll be good to go. Make sure you muted your mics, please. I think she just did. Good. Oh, here it is. I got it. I've got it. There it goes. And Microsoft's coming out, I think, with a new update where you can mute everybody at once, by the way. So you can mute all your students at once. I just went through my people. The way I did it now, I went to my people and I could find when I'm on people here, just so you can see. I can go next and see whose mic isn't muted, and then I can go over and I can unmute them. Now, I can't open their mic up for them. They have to open up themselves. But I can kick them out. I can make them a presenter. I can pin them. So all those different things I can do. So let me go ahead and put that back down a little. So just know there are different versions of everything in Microsoft. So there's a Microsoft Teams app on your desktop, and there's a Microsoft Teams in the cloud. A lot of you, your kids won't have, they may have a Chromebook or something, and so they won't really have the ability to install it. To install Microsoft, it programs it all, the desktop apps. They won't be able to install the desktop apps. But for a lot of you who do have the ability to install apps, I shouldn't say most, and I won't say all, and in different countries, it could be completely different. But in the US, the licensing most districts and schools get is the kind that you have up to 5 licenses you can install. And so if you're at Office 365 for your account, you could have it on your home computer, your work computer, your phone, your tablet, and you would go here to get to it and just log in, just FYI. So that was kind of your overview of the big picture of how the Microsoft ecosystem works together with Teams and everything. So what we're going to do now is just look at a couple of things and think about, with everything we're doing with distance learning and remote instruction and not knowing what's going on with the virus, the coronavirus, that everything changing, not daily, not weekly, but every single hour, we hear something new about our schools are doing, or whether they'll be in person or whether they'll be online, all those kinds of things, or a combination, a blended combination. So not knowing what's going to happen, we're all preparing to be ready, because when this started in the spring, we weren't ready. A lot of us just were thrown in the deep end of the swimming pool with no instructions on how to swim. And some of you were really good at things, and now you may be switching systems from one platform to another. And we want to get you as ready as we can. That's our goal. Will it be the same as being in the classroom? No. Will it be worse? Not necessarily. It's the relationships are going to take a little more work, and we absolutely want to keep those relationships going. There are lots of ways to do that with Microsoft products and checking out social and emotional health. But we also just want to do what we can to keep kids engaged and make the learning active, and do things like still do project work and group work so that they feel like there's a relationship, and sometimes even having fun during our time together. We want to maximize our use of our time together, whether we're in the classroom or we're distance learning. And all of this is really just a form of blended learning, which is something a lot of us have been teaching and helping guide educators to use for a long time. So even when you're back face-to-face, these are great skills that you can implement with your students, because if you are doing blended learning, you have so much more time to work with individual students and groups of students and really take your students to a higher level than just direct instruction all day long. So thinking about equity empowerment, skills for the future, personalized learning, all those things can be done with Teams and Class Notebook. Lots of great tools for that. And this is just a splash screen talking about all the ways we can use Microsoft's tools for better learning outcomes and for accessibility. They have awesome accessibility tools, preparing for college and career readiness, and then using them for creativity as well. So a Class Notebook, if you haven't used it before, I'm going to step back a second and talk about a OneNote notebook. So individually, you may have a OneNote notebook, and think of your 3-ring binder. Think about your trapper keepers when you're in school, or those 3-ring binders, you know, the vinyl ones or whatever you had, and you popped open the rings and then they got sprung and they never fit right together, or you pinched your finger in it. Remember those days. So this is a digital 3-ring binder or digital trapper keeper. And within those, you have those cardstock kind of sections with the colored tabs. And one would maybe say spelling, one would say math, one would say history, one would say science, and you divided your notebook into what we call sections. So those sections, when you open them, you would put paper in them. You would put notebook paper behind each one. You go use a 3-hole punch and put a handout in there. So this is just a OneNote notebook is a digital 3-ring binder with sections and colored tabs and pages. So think of that when you're thinking OneNote notebook, and you can have that just personally for yourself. You can have one for lots of different reasons. And it keeps everything organized. It's super easy to keep it organized. So that's what a OneNote notebook now is. Now take that and put on steroids. And a class notebook is like a OneNote notebook on steroids, because a class notebook is you help make those sections. Remember that math, science, spelling, history, those colored tabs. You're going to make those notebooks for your kids one time and push them out. So I'm going to have my own notebook I can work in, and my own collaboration space, and a place for all my content, and a private area for teachers. And then I'm going to make every student in each class a notebook. And I'm going to decide what sections they get. They can add more sections, they can add more pages, but I can push pages out to them all at once. I can push sections out to them. I can distribute materials. I can grade and assess them just really fast going through every notebook. I don't have to click each notebook. There's a way to hit them all at once, which is super awesome. So it's a great way to really streamline your work as an educator. And within here, you also have assignments. So if you were using Google Classroom or something before making assignments, it's here too. The assignments are in Teams, and then you'll use that in collaboration with your class notebook. So that's kind of the overview of what a OneNote notebook is and a class notebook, because if you're new to this, you kind of need that vocabulary. And then if I move on, I was talking about how you can distribute assignments and you can collect assignments just like you would in other tools. So I'm going to take you out of the presentation right now, because a lot of what we're going to be doing is live. And I showed you earlier how you can have my presentation up on one side, and you can have, oops, I didn't need to do that one. And you can have a browser open on the other side. So once again, I'm resizing my windows. You don't really want my presentation like my PowerPoint, but you need to be able to see what I'm doing here on one side. And then on the other side, you'll have your browser. So I want you just to take, in case you came late, I want you to have whatever you're looking at right now on my screen, which is my whole screen, on one side of your computer window. And on the other side, I just want you to have a browser tab. So I just want you to put things side by side. And this way you can watch me doing what I'm doing on one side, and you can be working in the browser, working on your own work, following along on the other side. So I'm going to hide this right now. Actually, no, I don't want to hide it because I'm going to use it in a second. So I'm going to go on and open it big. So I told you there is a desktop version of Teams, and there's also a browser version of Teams. This is my desktop version. Let me see if I can find my browser version, because I think I don't know if I had it up. It's right here. So if you look, let me get this here. And actually, let me get where you can see side by side. They're the same thing. They're the same thing. And the beauty of working in the cloud is when I'm working in the cloud, once I bring it down to the desktop and open it in the desktop app, whatever I'm in, whether it's PowerPoint, Word, Teams, OneNote, then they're going to start syncing back and forth. So I make a change in one place, it'll make the change in the other next time we're all connected to the internet. If we're on Wi-Fi already, it's going to sync continually. So everything syncs. You can still send it up to the cloud if you start on your desktop, but your best workflow is to start in the cloud. And they're going to be almost the same. So this is true of every app. If you're on PowerPoint, Word, Excel, anything, OneNote, there's a couple nuances. So you can have it on your desktop and you can have it up in Office 365 in the cloud. Knowing that, even though they're in both places, Microsoft's goal is that they will always be the same. That your experience in the cloud is always going to be the same as your experience on the desktop. And so that's a great goal. It's not there yet. Sometimes you'll be working, and I did this the other day with OneNote notebook. I'm like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? And I realized, and actually one of the participants goes, it's because you're in the cloud. You need to go to the desktop app. So once in a while, anytime you're thinking, I know I should be able to do this and I can't find it, think, am I in the cloud? Am I in my browser base with my browser tabs here, or am I on my desktop app? And sometimes the version you have on your desktop with that desktop app that you installed on your computer is a little more robust in some areas. Yes, and sometimes there are some features in the cloud that you can't get to on the desktop app. So they're not the same yet. That is the goal, to eventually have them be the same, but they're just not the same yet. And the other goal is to have every experience be the same, whether you're on Windows, whether you're on Macs, whether you're on a mobile device like a tablet, but they're not quite there yet either. Usually the Windows experience is more robust than the Mac experience now. That's understandable, just because they support their own platforms first. But that'll come. That's changing. It's a good, healthy competition. So the first thing we're going to do is make a team. And I'm going, if most of you are in your browser version, I don't care which one you're in. I'll just go the browser version for now, just to try and keep it consistent, but it's going to look pretty much the same. So I'm going to close that little thing there. All right. So when I am here, and I'm just in Teams, and the way I get there, if you forget, I can go to my grid, my app launcher up here in the corner. Let me get over here where you can see it. I can go to my grid. If I'm anywhere with an app launcher in Microsoft's world, I can go here and I can go to Teams. I can also get to Teams by going to Office 365 and selecting Teams. And lots of ways to get there. And you're already there in one window because you're watching me. But just so you'll know, we want you to be in Teams on one window. And in one half of your screen, I want you to be in Teams. And in the top right, when you're in Teams, and if you're in just one team like this one, you may not see it. So one time you're in a team, you need to click it again to get your dashboard. And this is my dashboard. It's lots of different teams. So let's talk about teams and how many you need and when you know what to do. If you teach second grade like I did for years, where I'm in a self-contained classroom, that was a lifetime ago, but if I'm in a self-contained classroom, then I would only probably need one team for my whole class. So think about groups of students you teach. If you teach one class of students all day long, you probably only need one team. Now, they may have another team for STEM. They may have another team for art, one for music. But for me, as their self-contained classroom lead teacher, I only need one team for second grade. If I teach multiple periods or multiple groups of students and I see different groups during the day, I want a team for every group. So if I teach period 1 history, I want a team for that. If I teach period 2 math, I want a team for that. You know, every team I teach, I want a group. I wanted to have a team for that special group of students who come in front of me that I'm teaching. So to create a team, at the top right here, and if you're not here and you see Teams, but you're still seeing something like just a regular, team post like this, just click Teams again. So you're seeing a dashboard. It may not have anything there yet. And go up and say, create team. We're all going to create a team, and we can get rid of it later. This is just a practice and play today. So we're going to create a team. And this is the screen you'll get. So I can create a team here. I also could join a team with a code. So if you're there are multiple ways to get your students in your team or your class, your group of students. One, they can use, your technology staff may push it down to you. They may, through Microsoft's programming be able to push your students for your team, create your team and all your students in there for each of your sections and each group you're teaching. Otherwise, they can join with the codes you create, just like you do in Google Classroom and Flipgrid and lots of different types of apps. You use a code. They join one time, they're done. You can also invite them, but that's a lot of work. So I'm going to click Create Team. So go on and click Create Team. And we have to do this before we make our class notebook. We're going to our class notebook, but remember, it's a one-way street. Well, why do I need a team? Because where are you now for your meeting? You're in Teams. Our class meeting, I can communicate with them 100 ways in Teams. My assignments live in Teams. So you want to make Teams and then make your class notebook. And so that's why we're here. And it's great because everything lives in one place. Our calendar's here, I join my team meeting, all those things. You have 4 different kinds of teams. You can make a class team. You can make a PLC, professional learning community. You can make a staff team or other. So we're going to make a class team. And now we name it. So we're going to name this, let's see. What am I going to call this today? Teams Learning. Teams and Class Notebook. PD. And I could put the date today. I might just put the date for fun. What is the date today? 8/3? Is it really? What is it? How do we get to be August? I want to know. Some of you are already hitting in the other countries, like we're on 8/4 now. You guys need to catch up. So there we go. I can give it a description. I can say it's searchable and discoverable by people in my district or my tenant, or I can just leave it. Now, remember you said if I make one, can I share it? Well, you're not going to share it, but every time you make one, there's a couple ways. I can use the team as a template, or there's a way in my dashboard just to duplicate the team. So you duplicate, 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 and now you just name a period 1, period 2, period 3, whatever you need to do, or topics or whatever, subject matters. Then I go to next. My team is creating, it just takes a minute. And now I can add students and I can even add a co-teacher. So for my co-teacher, I'm going to add JRead 11. Actually, I'm going to add, that's all right. I can add JRead. I have so many aliases in here. It's like, which one shall I add today? This is my Lamar University one. I'm going to add that as a co-teacher. I'm a guest, so I really can't be a teacher because they have it turned off in my tenant. So you can have that turned on in your tenant, but probably you won't. And then I click add. And see it disappeared because I can't have a guest. Then I go to students, and now I can start looking. It automatically made me a student instead. So now here's Julene as student 1, Julene as student 2. I just have my own personas. I would have invited you to be my students, but it doesn't allow me to do that. So here's student 3. So I can populate my students that way and invite them to my team. So I can add them. I could add them with their email addresses. I could also just use a code, whichever works better for me. And it may, like I said, it may be populated for you. So you need to talk to the district or your organizational unit and find out. I add them. Now I have these students, and then I just close it when I'm done putting my students in. So here's my team. You now have a team. Before I go any farther, any questions? Either put in the chat or ask with your microphone before I go any farther.
I don't know if I missed it, but Helen asked if you can share a notebook from one team to another team.
You can share a notebook. You can share it's not, I talked about briefly, but it was quick because I'm talking fast. You can share with another teacher. If you have your own class notebook or your own OneNote notebook where you're collecting things, you can distribute sections and pages to the class notebooks in your teams. If you make an assignment in one team, you can make the assignment to all your sections at once. So you can put the same assignments on the sections, you put the same conversations, so you can do things at the same time. The teams aren't really shared, but you can access, and as you're writing something or adding something to a team, you can push it to all your teams at once. So I hope that helps. It's a little different than just sharing. I don't want them, okay. So this is my team. Other questions before I go on?
Yes, I have back to that question. So right now, we don't have our class list yet. So if we just start creating a notebook, right? And then we can add the students to it later.
You would need to start with the team, create your teams, and then you can go on and do that. Yes, and you can add do your class notebook and be ready. Yes,
okay,
you can do that. And the other thing, make sure they're not doing that for you. You don't go to trouble to find out they're pushing it out from the district.
Well, okay, so if they push it out for the district and I have already created a notebook, that's the question. Can that notebook then be used in another team, or do I have to push it out page by page?
I think I would talk to them first, because I'm not sure. If you've already done it and put a lot of content in it, you can reuse posts, you can reuse content.
Yeah.
But your best deal is to see how they're going to do that.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Does it give you a choice to see all your teams that you would select to? Yes, you'll see it. You'll see all the teams when I get ready to do that. I was just answering Keena's. You can copy over sections, you can copy over pages, and you can, Christina. You can copy sections over, you can copy pages over. And that may be fine. I just kind of play in it a little bit and see. I would let you know, it'd be interesting. I think if you're in the States, they should be doing that pretty soon. You should be able to get that answer pretty soon. I just don't want to see you duplicating work, but you should be able to push it out. All righty, so back to where we are. If you choose to see all your teams, you would select to add the pages to. Yes, I'll show you that, Krita. So here we are. So let's look at this. Like I told you, if I go back here, I have my dashboard. And then like down here, this is the one we just made. There's my team. And while I'm here, these three dots say, oops, let me move this out of your way. Manage a team, add a channel, add a member, leave the team, blah, blah, blah. So you can get links here. There's all kinds of ways you can access things. So that's one way you can do it. So here I am, I'm in my team. I can change this icon with this pencil, and they have all kinds of show you. But the other day when I did this, when I was presenting, it locked up, so I'm not going to do it right now, but you can change yours if you want later. General just means this is general conversations. This is everybody in my team. Anytime I do something with general, it's like a friend of mine says, I'm shouting to the room of everybody in the student, all my classes in my room, all my students in my room. When I'm doing general in this class, I'm shouting to the room. So think of this as a class, like you are my class right now. And this is everybody in the class. Along the top, we have posts, so we can post. We can put files here that everybody in the team can access. We have a class notebook we're going to make, and we have two more, which are assignments and grades. And you're not seeing mine because I have my window kind of small. Oh, there it goes. I got too big there. There. Assignments and grades. And then you can add tabs here, like you could add Flipgrid here, a Pear Deck here, whatever you want to. A website here. So you can add tabs and it would take them straight to that Kahoot or straight to that Pear Deck or straight to whatever. So going down the side, just if you haven't been in here, I don't want to spend a lot of time on Teams because I only get to class notebook. But here at the top, if you haven't been in Teams, here's where you manage it, add members, leave it, all those things. But when I go to manage team, I click on these three dots by the name of the team and I went to manage team. Here's where I could add another co-teacher, I could add guests, all of that. Channels we'll talk about, but in my settings, this is where you have a lot of opportunity to pick your theme. So like instead of that, I can change it, but I can do it right up there too. I can give permissions here. And this one you'll really want, we'll talk about that, but you'll really want to go through and check those permissions. It kind of has a default, but you'll probably want to change things. Here's guest permissions, mentions. Here's that team code. Remember when I told you could make a code and kids could join with a code? Oh, come on, it's not going to let me do that. I was trying to get bigger for you. And so here's my team code and I generate it. And that's my code and I can make a full screen. So that's the code they would join with. It's right there in settings. And if I need to reset it, it's there. Then there's some fun things like animations and GIFs and stuff. You can turn them off and on. One thing I definitely will suggest, and I'll talk about that in a second. Let me skip and come back to that. Sorry. OneNote class notebook and some tags. One thing I would suggest when you're starting in Teams, if you've never done this before, I would do it where only the teacher can add information, and I'll show you that in a minute, can work in that channel for a while. I mean, there's certain things, you'll just want to kind of curtail the permissions of the kids. So you want to think about who can do what and curtail the permissions of the 10 kids until you've set your, until you've made your, set your norms, developed your norms. And then the other thing I just want to show you before we go straight to class notebook is over here, you can have channels. Now this is changing, but let me show you this. So lots of things with here about your channels, but we don't have any channels. So think of channels when I go back up here to my team name and I click add manage team. Right below it this time I can add a channel. And I'm going to call this group 1 and they're studying tornadoes. I don't know. I'm just making things up. And then I can say, I can choose, is it private? Only specific people can see it, or can everybody see it? So why would you want to be private? This is great for differentiation. This is great for if you have a child that needs a lot of extra help, you make a channel and you have information in that channel just for that child and nobody even knows it exists except you and him or her. So if I were doing groups for projects, maybe they're going to be accessible to everyone. Maybe I'm just going to put the names of the students in the group there. I can decide, I can show it in everyone's list or I can hide it. So like if I have a channel for Susie or Johnny who need extra help, I may hide it and only they will see it. And then I add it and now I have a channel. And then I could do one for group 2 and group 3. And these can be temporary. I could get rid of them later, or I could use this for units of study. So if I were doing a unit of study, and this one is world leaders of World War II, and then this one is the Vietnam War, or anything, any topic you're doing, you can do for units of study and click them there as well. So when you see channels, it's great for great group work, but Microsoft is coming out with something different called breakout groups, and that'll be pushed out soon. And so they're taking what we already did create with channels and they're making it more formal, or just renaming it and giving it more, I can't think of the word I want to say, ability to do different functions. That's the word, more functions as a breakout group. And you can even have video meets going on in your breakout groups. So this group's having a meeting, this group's having a meeting. And as a teacher, I set them up and I'm dropping in and out of the groups and they never know when I'm coming because we're doing it at the same time and I can check on them. So just know that's there. The other thing, if I just go back to my general, which is my main one, I have conversations. This is like your stream that was in Classroom. If you were there, it's like your place where you can shout to the room and give all kinds of information, send files, send links, put a YouTube video for them to watch. Lots of different things can go down here. So that's just going to pop up and I would just say, hello, everyone. And everyone is going to see it in the team because it's a general. If I do that in tornadoes, hi tornado group, I'm just going to call it TG. And then I post that one. I keep getting this in my way. Go away. And I post that one. There's hi tornado group, but when I go back to general, I won't see it in general because that was just posted to them. So you can have private conversations with them. When I'm in a channel, I have the ability to put some files up here. Let me get it smaller again. So I can add files just for that channel. And I can add notes for that channel, which is just like a one-page notebook where I can add things just one page of a class notebook or OneNote notebook. I can just put one page here. So that's there. So that's the general. I mean, in the channel, you would have that. You would have notes. It's being really slow. But if I go back to general, I don't see that. Instead, I see my class notebook because this is everybody. And so here are my assignments. This is how you'll be making your assignments and just get started. We're not going to do a lot here, but I do want to do some of this. So we're going to create an assignment and I'm going to click create. I can do a quick quiz right here, which is a really easy, fun one to do because it's just a quick, like one question, multiple choice kind of thing. It's really fast. I can use an existing quiz. I can do an assignment. So here's my assignment, and this is what your assignments are going to look like. You would put your title here, 3 things, and I could add a category. if I want to add a category. So I'll just put responsive writing or something. I don't know. I'm just writing things. I'm just making things up. But you can think about the kind of categories you might put your assignments into. I can, whoops, did I do it? I don't know if I did or not. Okay, there we go. Now it's saved. I can give them instructions and say, what 3 things, do you need to do to get ready for school? I'm just doing it. And I have all kinds of things here, links I can put in, but I can add resources. And when I add resources, I can add resources from my class notebook. I can add resources from a link. I can do a new file, and that's awesome because right here, I can create that 3 things document, call it 3 things, and then I can attach it. And I didn't make it ahead of time. It's just right there. And then I could add more resources. And again, I could add PowerPoints, Excel spreadsheets, so maybe a collaborative spreadsheet or something. And I can assign it to different teams. I can do it for different teams. So I can assign to which team I want, sorry. So I canceled that though. So here it is. This is the part that's really, really important when you're making an assignment. And it says students can't edit it. This would be one Word document that everybody's writing in the same document. What you want to do is go to these 3 dots. Anytime you see the 3 dots and check them out because it says student can edit their own copy. That's just like we had in the same thing we had in Google Classroom if you used it. So they're going to edit their own copy or you'll tell them to open it somewhere. So edit their own copy. And then you can assign points to it, 100 points. You can add a rubric, super easy to build a rubric and reuse them. And you can do that later, but I really want to focus on classroom the rest of our time. And this is the question you had too. And I definitely would use rubrics. I mean, really easy to use and create. Like this one, you just put in it could be a 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever topics you want and just add them and then you can reuse them. But here is the part that you really need to see too. So this is the class notebook we're in, the notebook we're in, the team. But notice when I click on this, I can assign to multiple notebooks at once. This one, they're becoming bold with the check mark. This one, I'm going to uncheck that one. I'm just making sure I'm not doing something crazy. So all those get the assignment. 5 classes are going to get it. I'm actually going to go back and uncheck them now for a reason. Let me go back and uncheck here and uncheck here and uncheck here and just be in the one we're in now. Okay, so now I think we're just in this notebook. So you can add to multiple notebooks. Whoops, I'm still in 2. Let's get rid of 1. Which one am I still in? Oh, that one. I hope I'm in the right, yeah, there we are. I'm in this one. I can assign to all the students, or look here. I can differentiate and pick different students. And all my students are showing up here. But if I had Julene, it should have just populated them all. I don't know why it's not. But I can pick my students and I can assign them all at once, or I can just assign to specific students. So it's great for differentiation. I'll put in all students. You're going to have due dates, times. You can save it. You can schedule it to come up later, all those things. So then I can either save it for later, assign it, whatever. And I've assigned it, tells when it's done. It's going to show up in the work they need to do on their calendar. It's going to show up that I need to grade it. And now I can create another one. So that's your assignments. I just want you to see that. And then your grades will be here. We don't have anything graded yet. But this is where it would be. There's what I'm grading now. That's my next assignment. It's going to give me all my students, going to give me all the data and how each one of them did on that assignment. So back to here. So we've looked at assignments briefly, we've looked at grades briefly, and now we're going to what we're here for. You kind of had to understand the big picture there of how it all works together. And now we're going to make a notebook. So wherever you are, and it doesn't matter you don't have students now, just come back with us, go up, make sure you're in your team, and go to class notebook and let's set up a notebook. So one of the things that came through recently has changed, and it's for the good. We will have a collaboration space, and this is the space where you can collaborate on the notebook. Everybody in the class can work in a common area. I would turn that off at the beginning, and we'll look at that. Turn that off in the beginning. Then you can have your content in the content library, and in this, I can edit as a teacher, but the students can only see it. They can copy it over to the notebook, but they can only see it. And this is where I can publish course materials to them. Then this teacher only section, I used to have to set that up separately, and they now include it as default. So now I have a private space for my teachers, and I can edit the content and students can't view that. No, I mean, I'm the only one that can see it, and no one can work on it. And then I have student notebooks, a private space for each student. So teachers can edit the content here and students can edit it. So they can only see their own notebook, but they can edit their notebook. And they can, so I can see all my students' notebooks, but they can only see their own. And then, so that's how I'm going to do that and create it for them. And I go to next. These are my tabs. I can rename this. I could call this classwork. I could call this class notes. I could call it homework, quizzes. I could add another section that says resources. I decided what tabs do you want to put in your student notebooks. This goes in your students' notebooks. So when I push my notebooks out, what tabs do I want them to have? And then I just go on and create it. And it takes just a little bit, and it's going to create those student notebooks for you. So here it goes. It's going to make, and if I have several students, it's going to take you, a bit of time. So you do it ahead of time, and it's going to make a notebook for every student in your class. Now, I only have 1 or 2 that are just fake students in here. I thought I had 3, but they're not all 3 showing up for some reason. And so here I am. This is my class notebook. This is my OneNote notebook on steroids inside here. And this is just placeholder text that kind of tells you what to do and how to use it. But what you do is you go over to this little caret, this sideways arrow, and you click it. And now I can look at all the tabs, all the sections in my notebook. There's all the tabs, all the sections. Oh, wow, all my students are here. I have 4 students. So this is my welcome area. These are sections. These are pages. So let me get it smaller so you can see that. And let me see if I can, let me do this. I think it'd be better if I did this and pulled it smaller so you can see at the bottom. Oops, I don't want you to go full screen. Stop that. I want you to be, I'm talking to the window, over here, and I'm going to try to grab this corner. If I can do it without going full screen, don't go full screen. There we go. So I want you to see that at the bottom here are my sections. At the bottom, it says add section. At the bottom where my pages are on the right, it says add page. So that's how I can add sections and pages. Now, this is the welcome with 2 pages. This is the collaboration space. And it has a little information about using the collaboration space. You can delete these later. You can just delete the text. It doesn't matter. Here's my content library. This is for teacher only, and I can put content here. I can keep adding pages. This is my teacher only section. So this is, nobody sees this but me, where I can put things for my teacher only section. And then these are my students. And remember how I made their tabs? There's quizzes, resources, homework, class notes, and classwork. It makes me crazy, and I don't know why, but they don't stay in the same order, and everyone will be different. And if you're going to be anal, like I kind of am, I'd probably go through and say, okay, class notes was supposed to be first, and then it was classwork, and you can drag them. You can make your tabs different colors, so you can give them new colors. Like maybe I want that one to be cyan instead, and maybe I want this one to be pink. So I can make those tabs different colors, however I want to do it. And if I want to add a new section, I can add a new section, but it won't be pushed out to my kids. And I can add new pages. So if I'm in the content library and I put something here, and I'm going to add a new page, I'm going to call this Tree Frogs or something. Then I could put content on this page. Now know that when you're in OneNote, and this is like the OneNote on steroids, and all that did was close my arrow there when I clicked there. The way I change the section names is by right-clicking and renaming a section. The way I change a page name is just by clicking over here and writing the name. And it has dynamic text, so I could have in this one, I could have things like resources I want them to go to, and I could start putting hyperlinks here. And I can move these dynamic text boxes around. Maybe over here, I'm going to have one that's going to be a to-do list that I want them to do, and I'm going to put it there. And then maybe down here, I'll have some images, or I'm going to insert an image, or I might insert an image, or I might just go to stop, insert a picture from online, and I'm going to do a search right here for tree frogs. And I'm building a content page. So I'm just in the content library making a content page. And I think down here it says added or something. And these are Creative Commons. So let's see if I just double click it. Oh, there we go. And I can put all kinds of assets here. So that's my content page. And I keep working on that and building my content page. And then when I have that content page ready, this is what's so awesome. So this is in the content library. I'm on this tree frog page. Now I go to class notebook and I click on it and I can distribute that page to every notebook if I want. I can distribute it to just certain students. I can do it to a group. I can do it cross notebook to multiple classes at once. So that's when we said you could share it. And then come back over here. I think maybe if you enter them, I think it should be alphabetical. It didn't do it. Huh, that's a really good question. Rachel, if you email me, I'll see if I can find that out for you. I don't know. I'll give you my email in a minute. So I'm going to pick this and I'm not going to do cross notebook, but I could. I'm just not going to for time. I'm going to distribute a page, and you always want to have the page you're distributing open. Distribute the page. And it's going to ask me, where do I want to put it in their notebook? Classwork. So I want to put in classwork. Come on. That's the section. Why aren't you doing it? And so I'm going to push this out to that section. Oh, there it is at the bottom. And it says distribute down here. It was hiding. I click distribute. That page is going out to every student's classwork notebook inside their tab. So here it goes. It says it's done, so I can close that. If you have a lot of content, you need to do it ahead of time because it may take a little bit of a large class and a lot of content when you're distributing. So now if I go down to, let me just close these, and I start looking at my students, there's classwork, there's tree frogs there, they have it, Jay Reed has it. Let's see if this student has it, student 2, there's tree frogs there. So I push things out, and yes, you can add sections from your OneNote. You would right click on the section and then distribute it. It says move or copy, and you can look for that online. It'll give you that. Yeah, you can upload your documents from OneDrive. When you're adding your content, you can just upload it. And so right here, you can even have documents in file or in the content library. You can put them in files if you want to. So those are all there. I think you can here, if I did this and I did right click, I think if I did insert, let's see what it does. Insert, let me just get here. It doesn't see me because I don't have my cursor down there now. Insert file. Insert file as an attachment or a printout. And the difference is an attachment is just a link. A printout is going to be like a printout of that document. Like it's going to show the picture of that document. So that's there as far as uploading your document into here. You should be able to upload it, I think, from your OneDrive, but might have to put it in the content library first and then do that. Because, oh, I was in a student section, that's why. Yeah. So you should be able to put it right in there. Let me see if I add a page and just try it. I think you can. And yeah, somehow I know you can. I just have to think about how I did that. Yeah, I know you can. You may have to put it up here in files and then access it that way. So let me go back here to class notebook and show you just a couple other things because we're almost done here. I'll keep you a couple minutes so I can show you something. You can distribute sections, content library. I can review student work. So right here, I can say, what work do I want to review? I want to review their classwork, and I want to review their tree frog page. And what's cool about that is now I go to next. Oh, look, I can do first name, last name right here. You just need to be able to do it in the notebook itself. I know what you're saying. So I'm going through here now, And I'm going to say what's, select a student. I don't have to select a student. I can say tree frogs. I could look at ones, but I'm going to say tree frogs. And then it should go on and let me do it. And I'll start here with this one. And there's Julene's. And then I can look at Jay Reed's. And there's that one. They all look the same now because I haven't worked in them. But I could go through everybody's page and their notebooks one at a time. Same thing when I grade assignments. I can go right through and one at a time, click, 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 and check them all. If you want to manage notebooks, it's right here. And this is where you can lock that collaboration space. So that was right there in class notebook. If I go back, I close it, it was right here in class notebook. And it says class notebook. Come back, class notebook here, manage notebooks. I have a few things there. I don't think you need that. I'm trying to see if there's anything here. Nope, you don't need that. But that's kind of how that works. And then you get that, you'll be able to review their work there. You'll be able to review it in assignments. You'll be able to come in and put comments. You'll be able to draw on it and annotate it and make, anything you want on it and say, look, whoops, let me get my pencil and my pen. I can point to things, I can leave them notes, I can put audio comments in here. So I can go down here and click, oops, I need to get out of my draw pen and go back to my cursor. When it does that, I didn't do it. And I could go insert an audio comment too. So I could go in audio, I can leave them feedback here. So it's already recording me. This is great for foreign language and the kids can leave their feedback here too. Then I stop it. And it's going to process it, and I just left them an audio file. So right here in that notebook, you can leave audio feedback. You can leave audio instructions on the page. And if you're in one of the two apps for OneNote, you can actually record videos. And so there are two different apps for your desktop on a Windows machine, only one on a Mac. And one of those lets you record videos. And so let me go on here, and then if I play it, it should just play right there. So that's your class notebook, and it is like amazing what all you can do with this. And you can do file and home and insert and draw, all kinds of cool things. And like I said, on the desktop, there's even more options. If you haven't explored an immersive reader, look at my accessibility information because it is awesome. And you can even translate to other languages if you want to. So all kinds of ways to use immersive reader in it. And then we just go back. And so teaching that to your kids, you can have a reading view of different things. You can change the pages, and even if you go through the desktop app, you can add line paper to them and graph paper. So lots of ways to use it. And it's one of the things you just need to play in for a while. And then when I go back to my Teams, it's all right there. I mean, it's all right in Teams, and I can schedule my meetings. Like this shows up sometimes. So I can schedule a meeting right here, meet now, or schedule a meeting right within Teams. There are a couple tenants where it doesn't show, so I have to go to my calendar, and over here on the side are going to be my calendar, and I can schedule my meeting here. All my assignments as a student would be here. And so I could go to this class and see what my assignments are in that class. I can see what I still need to get done. And then I have the ability to chat with my team if I want to. I can chat with certain students at one time and see all the activity that goes on. And like I said, go back here and hit it again, and you're back at your dashboard. So that's the world's fastest drive-by. Here's how you manage your teams right here. And if you wanted to archive one or something, get rid of it, you just go to these three dots and you tell it to archive the team. So you can delete the team there, and you can archive it here too. So when you're getting rid of it, that was just up here. That was the gear on your dashboard. So lots of cool ways that you can work in teams, and Class Notebook. And Class Notebook is super awesome. And so I'm going to go on and answer your questions in a second. I'm just trying to think if there's anything I missed. I think I hit most of it. I know what I didn't show you. So let me show you one more thing, and then we'll stop the recording and we'll stay for any questions and to show what you want. So when you're in, let me get out of this one. Let's just get out of this one. So when I'm here and I'm in Class Notebook, there's another thing I can do. I can actually decide I want to open it in the browser. And it's the same notebook. It just gives me Word real straight, or I can open it in the app. And almost every tool you are in, PowerPoint, Word, it'll say open in the app. And so when I open it in the app now, just know that it's a little bit different. And this is a different one. It's going to come through in a second. But what I have for you that you're going to love, 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 and I think I have it in here. It's a resource for you. Let's see if it's here. It may not be right here. I've given you a sample class notebook that is linked in the PowerPoint slides I'm going to share with you. And so you can go through those as well. Let me finish this and I'll answer questions and we can stop the recording. But let me just go down here so we can finish this up so you'll know where to get the slides. And so right now, present from current slide. Here's my ideas and examples I want to share with you. This one here, this top one, if you go to that website, AKL, and I know where it is, it has all kinds of awesome resources for you where you can go through and you can look at, I think I toggled out of it. Oh, here they are, real word samples. These are real teachers in real schools. There's that Japanese tree frog lesson. It'll give you all kinds of ideas of how you can use Notebook and Teams and Class Notebook with your teams. And then, let me hide that. Come back here. Come on, give me my full screen. Okay, that's all right. Here we go. So that's in that sample notebook, and that's right here. And that's on the slides you're going to download, and you can go download those slides right away. Lots of help resources here where you can go and look at them. And come on, why did you go backwards? Hold on. There's your slide URL. So if you go here, I'm going to put it right here for you. You can get all my slides. You can download all the slides from all the shows right here. Whoops, keep doing that. How many things going on? Okay. Oh, I'm in the wrong keyboard. That's why I have two computers here. I'm like, why did it do that? bit.ly/com/q, oops, .com/q slides. This should take you to a OneDrive where you can click on the dot next to the file you want and then go up to the top and tap to download. And so those are your files. So I will stay after. I'm going to stop the recording for now. And I am happy to stay after. Please continue to go to the q.org/Microsoft site and learn more. I have office hours starting in 30 minutes. If anybody wants to join the office hours, I'll also be there. And that's just where you can come and I can show you anything you want to see. I just show it to you. It's like I'm just hanging out and I'm just there to help you with anything you want. Anytime you see office hours, it's just me hanging out. And if you can't come today, you can come to any office hour and watch it. So feel free to come in any office hour and join me, and I'll be sitting right here trying to help you and answer your questions. All right, so let me go back and look, but open your mics if you want to. Alphabetical, we need to find out. You can upload your docs from OneDrive into your files, and then I think you can access them that way into your class notebook, and then just push them out. Can I add section C? You should be able to add to your class notebook too. It should show up as a OneNote notebook in your class notebook. If you want the word, if you want them to work on collaborative rather than having his or her own copy, when you first did that assignment, remember the assignment? Well, you could use the collaboration space, or in the assignment, you don't have to pick everybody gets their own copy. You can just leave it. That's the default, and you don't have to, in the assignment, you don't have to choose for them to have their own copy. It's not showing the team's class notebook as an option. It should. Is there a place in here that would be conducive to a class blog or discussion? Well, it's a little different, Rachel. The discussion is kind of just that ongoing stream, that conversation, which is kind of like Facebook. So I'm not sure that's going to be a huge benefit for there. There might be a way to embed something on a page. I'm not sure that it's really built for that, but I would Google it and see if anybody's had a workaround for it and see what happens. Or I should say browser search it. I use the G word. Helene, if you want multiple people working on one document, yeah, you could save in your drive, share the link through Teams, allow them access to the document, then add together. That would work. You can put in the collaboration space. That would work. And you can make an assignment and not make multiple copies because you can assign things from your drive. And that might be what you're looking for when you're saying, can I add something to my drive? You're probably going to add to an assignment. So I can show you that. If you want to hang out for a second, I can show you. Anything that works not work, that link's not working. Okay, you know, sometimes I have to do this trick. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, I know why it's not. It's because your instructor gave you the wrong link. See, let me see. I put too many periods in it. bit.ly/q slides. You either put, let me do it again. You either put bit.ly.com, you either put, now that should still work. Let me try it one more time. Because there are two ways I can write it. And once in a while I've had trouble. Yeah, I don't know, bit.ly, oh, you know what? It's just bit.ly.com. That's what it is, /Q slides. The other way you can do it the way I did it, but you can't have two periods. So it's either that, try that. It's either that or it's bit.ly/Q slides. And you don't put the column. So one of those should work, I believe. Yeah, it was the extra period, Rachel. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Karina, you're so good. Good job. That's me trying to talk and do things at once. If I teach 4 periods of 7th grade math, if I make each one a team, how do I push out assignments or post to every team? And that's an assignment. So let me just go there really quick and show you. So if I'm in my team, let me get to my other team screen here. And I go right here. And we were in this one. I can move these around. I can just drag and drop them around. But this is one we were in. And if I go to assignments and I make a new assignment, so I'm going to create an assignment. And remember when you asked me for one thing, I'm going to skip all this. I'll just put test. You wanted to know what you could do as far as add a resource. When I add a resource, this is where I can go and get something. I can get a link to my OneDrive. Oh, you're not seeing my screen. Ding dong. Hold on.
Sorry.
Got it. That's okay. You know what time I started this morning? It was 5, 6, 7 hours ago, and I haven't stopped. So I'm getting a little weary, I think. Here it comes. Sorry about that. I'm glad you told me. I'd hate to be talking to myself for no reason. All right, so let me go back to my teams. Here's my team. And I said we can move these around. Are you seeing it now, I hope? There it is. Let's see. It's okay. Okay. So here it is. Here's my team. Here's my assignments. And I create an assignment. Here's my assignment. I'm going to call it test. And down here where I can add resources, here's my OneDrive right here. So I can go right into my OneDrive and add something from there right away. So if I want to find something on OneDrive, I can go there. And I can add a new file right here. We talked about that. I can go to my teams for a resource. So I have no idea what I have in here. Let's see what's in attachments. I don't know what's in there. Who knows what's in Office Lens? Anything? All right, there's a lens picture. I have no idea what it is, but I could attach it. See, I just attach it from my drive. So you can attach it from your drive. Now, if it's a Word document and you want them all to work in it, I'm going to go to New File, Word document, or it could be a collaborative slideshow on a PowerPoint, whatever it is, and I attach it. Right here, it says students can't edit. And if I go to the 3 documents, students, and oh, why can't they edit that? Because it wasn't, did I not attach it? Wait, go back. I'm going too fast. Let me try one more time and not put that other document on there. Assignment, and it could say an existing one, so I can reuse assignments. Add a resource, create a new file, create it in Word, call it testing. Maybe I had another test talk, and I attach it. Now let's see. They should be able to edit that. That's so funny. Edit their own copy. That's interesting. Because that's always been where they would edit the same thing. And you can do it where they can't, but they should be able to edit the same one, because I don't want to edit their own copy. Yeah, I'll have to see. I have no idea. Maybe I have to change it there, but that didn't used to be like that. So there is a way. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know why it's not showing me that third option. But it should have, I mean, it has two, but it should also be able to, and I don't think I can change it here. Yeah, I'll have to check on that. Let me give you my email. It's going to go in the chat for anybody who wants to email me. I keep using the wrong keyboard. And let me see if I can find out the answers to the questions for you, because it should go right there. Oh, wait. No, that's not it. That's not going to do it. No, that's turned it in. So that's not going to do it either. I don't think that's going to do it. Edit their own copy. That didn't change it. But I know it's a setting. I'm just not finding it because I'm tired. But I know it's a setting. All students. And then remember when you asked about all classes? So I could say this period, and this period are all getting this assignment. Now it's going to 4 classes, and I just assigned all 4 of them once. All righty. For someone who's getting half brain dead, at least we got through it. Any other questions? You're welcome, Dana. Just email me anything else. I'll get your answer, because I don't know why it's not showing that one thing, but I will definitely find out. And email me up the class notebook issue too. I don't know what that's about. You're so welcome. Glad you came. Get some rest. Some of you in the middle of the night still. And don't forget, you can go back to q.org/Microsoft and get to the YouTube recordings of all the ones that have been done already on the YouTube channel. And there are a lot more coming up all the way through August. So you can, okay, so let me show you, Tamala, let me show you this really quickly then if you're interested in that. And this will be what I'll be doing too. So if I'm in my desktop version, oops, I want to go to OneNote. If I'm in the class notebook, in fact, let me just go to Teams so you'll see it. Here's Teams, here's that class notebook. And I'm in class notebook here in this team. And then I pop it out in my browser, or I can open it on the app. If I open it in the app, one of the cool things you can do, Pruna, if you email me, or Leslie, if you email me, I'll send you a certificate. And that email's up there if you need me to post it again, let me know. So I'm going to pull down to just one of my sample ones. So here's Julene's notebook. This is just for fun. You're welcome. So if I insert an image here, like insert, so we'll pretend this is my class notebook, what I was just in. And if I'm just putting it in anything. So in a class notebook, if I've opened it on the desktop, if I insert a picture from my file, and on my desktop, I have that tree frog document, and I put it right here, and I make it really big. I think I can also insert a PDF here. I'll show you that. I know I can. And so there it is. And what I would want to do if it's an image, like a JPEG, I would right-click it and say, set this picture as a background. And when I set it as a background, now they can't move it, and they can edit it and put everything in it. And then if I want to do, I'm gonna make a new page, insert a PDF. So if I want to insert a file that's a PDF, that's a really big one. Here's a tree frog PDF. It's the same thing that's a PDF. Do I want to upload, insert the link, insert as an attachment, or insert as a printout? If I insert it as a printout, it's going to come through as an image, not just the link, but the link is right here. And again, I can set it as a background. And then when I set it as a background, they can write on it. And it won't move. And that's syncing with what I have in the cloud, the same notebook in the cloud that's in my team. All right, any other questions? Well, I have 10 minutes, so I'm going to log out of this one and get onto my class meeting. My office hours, I mean, about class notebooks, so I'll be in office hours and can work through any of this with you. Happy for you to do that, but it's a different link. So I'm going to leave right now, and then when we get back, I'll be in my office hours where I don't present. I'm just here to teach. So thank you so much for coming. Stop.